Now, the rest of the story.
Well, welcome back. Well, I'm not working on the 79 anymore. Working on the 7600. And here's my light here. So, the left turn signal light has, for some reason, when I jumped in this morning, was staying on full time, no matter what I did. And this is one of those wonderful issues where it just miraculously quit working or quit doing it. The switch on these is complicated. Oh, for those of you wondering how do you push a button and the horn probably has something in there. You believe for the horn on this guy, see the two leads right there? So you got your orange and your red wire. That's it. They're just sitting in there. And when you push the horn button in, all it does is push those two ends together. I mean, simple and effective, I guess. We had a 7400 back when we were milking cows, and I do remember, even with the 7400, that this whole area on the column is a weak point. As you can see, this is actually supposed to be screwed on through the back. There's 4 screws, and I ultimately took the steering wheel off, and it just essentially fell off. So what I could do is glue it back on. Could fix it, get a new one. It's really not hurting anything. The problem is I probably have to get a new one now. I'm just kidding. I mean, it's been like that since I bought this tractor. So I mean, why start throwing a fit about it now? My issue is the turn signal switch, the horn switch. I don't know what I did. So I don't know if it's a wiring issue, if the wires, trying to get it to repeat its issue can sometimes drive you crazy. And I'm going to put it back together because we're going to try running it like it is for the time being and see if it does it again. I just wanted to see if there was anything outright obvious that could have been a problem, like if I had a wire broken or maybe it came off its connector. So it seems how I can't do anything about that. This has a plastic tab. Keep setting my light down. There's a tab that goes in right there. As you can see, that's busted off. That actually belongs to this guy right here. And the tab on that side is still intact, but the problem is the tab that goes on that side is busted out, the side that actually slides into. So that explains why this thing is just existing. It always has. See, the windshield wiper, this is a lot firmer. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Need a new windshield wiper too. Well, essentially what I'm going to do is put it back together, run it, see if it does it again, because that's the first time that it's done that. Just the simple fact that it was on before I did all this and took it apart. If it comes back on again, probably looking at a new switch, because it really seemed like, because it was coming on and off and I was messing with it when I had the steering wheel on. And now, of course, now that I got everything out so I can see what's going on, I mean, that's usually when the aggressive side of being a mechanic or working on your own stuff comes into play, where it works to your favor, where you can kind of rough it up and See, it's not coming back on. I mean, I know when I shut it off last night, it wasn't on. And for some reason, between last night and this morning, it decided it isn't going to work. And something from the time I got in the tractor and did all this, opened it up, it decided to go back to working, which, without having to touch anything else, like anything in the fuse box or any other part of the tractor, it does at least let me know that the problem is almost 99% right here. Now, that extra 1% is electrical gremlins, where the only thing I really noticed the only other thing I've done that doesn't involve directly the switch itself is to get it out. I grabbed all these wires and I pulled on them. And once again, I set my... Did you guys see where I put my flashlight? Trying not to use it too much because it blinds you and then you guys can't see what I'm talking about. But I set it down and then it fell down. See, because what I was wondering too is it's such a tight area where these wires go down in. If you guys can see that, I was just wondering if they didn't wear through or any exposed wires. But as you can see, or maybe you can't see because I'm giving you guys motion sickness, this hasn't come back on yet, and there's no solder busted on it. I'm gonna give them a call to see what a new switch would be, because, you know, just my luck, it probably isn't gonna be just the switch. Oh, wait, it did it. I'm pretty sure I wasn't seeing things. I'm gonna have to actually look back in the video here. Oh, I think I did it with my light. I'm seeing things. See, that's another good reason to have the light off. I'm willing to bet it's probably something in these guys. But what I'm kind of figuring is going to happen, I'm wondering if I'm going to call up and say, hey, I need a switch, and it won't be just the whole assembly. It'll be like this piece, and then this piece, and then I'm going to have to go through and cut and solder some wires in a very narrow area. But a new housing for it, you know, the plastic piece would sure be nice, because at least that way we could firm that back up, and I could probably come up with something to firm that up. And gosh, I don't think anybody wants to hear me say this, but this is plastic right here, which is going to sound really stupid, but I could actually get a small tap screw in there and screw that right to this inner piece, and that would actually firm that up a lot. Because the problem is they got these small tabs on it. Well, then when you go to hit your turn signal, it's busting out these tabs here. The only thing that would concern me is I end up cracking this, and you know, that's, once again, would probably be like a couple $1,000 just to get that part. I'm not really sure if I'm willing to risk that. Just for turn signals that I do use, which is, you know, hence the switch being broken. But nobody ever seems to notice when the farmer turns his turn signals on. LED lights on the wagons and the mower, and people will still spin around you and fly past you. But I'm feeling a little bit better. I know exactly what's going to happen, and I'll get this all back together. It'll sit here until tomorrow morning, and then it'll probably do it again. But it did, to be fair, and it was still all together. Moving the switch back and forth, I did get the light to go out. Then I wiggled it some more, and then it came back on. So at least all the fact-finding mission of tearing this apart essentially just gave me proof that it's at least localized in this area. or at least 99% sure that it's right in this area. As far as a quick update, we got rained out this morning. We got like 2 tenths. We were going to go, we had everything running to go try cutting beans. Got rained out. It actually rained pretty hard. I mean, we were all pretty well soaked because we were outside not expecting it to start raining. Put everything inside, got it in. I got to clean windows off because when you get tractor windows wet, kicking up the dust and everything, all the windows are actually look pretty gross. I hear guys are trying to run or are running later this afternoon. It's 4:30 right now. Not really enticing for me to want to pull everything back outside to go try to run just to find out that it might still be too tough yet, because you get that water on those bean plants. The last thing I want to do is slug up the combine or tear up the bean head, trying to get those tough plants in the machine. With the current outlook for tomorrow, it looks like we should be able to run. I mean, elevator's open. It says they'll be open. And what we have on in order for the next, even a day of running between 2 different farms, that won't be a full day, but by the time we drop in, cut it, move to the next farm, drop in, cut that, which is a rocky farm, so we're not going to be driving as fast as we typically would. Plus, it's contours, so it's not like it's one solid piece where you're taking full header passes. It'll be a little bit time consuming, but then we have, after that, probably 2.5, 3 days of running for sure. And then the last field of my replant stuff has an awful lot of green in it yet. Not all of the replanted stuff, but there's a lot of beans that were obviously planted as a replant, and those plants are just really starting to turn yellow. I mean, they're not deep green yet, which I'm grateful for, but it may seriously take a frost to knock the rest of them out, so the field is dried down enough to the point where I can actually harvest the field. Because otherwise, trying to harvest a bunch of dry beans with a bunch of green stemmed plants yet, at least to the extent that these are, it's just going to be a nightmare trying to harvest it. So the best I can do is just one day at a time and just focus on what we can do. And right now, it's more or less just busy work. Not busy work, just working on the stuff that you wouldn't typically do when we could actually harvest. So I'll talk to you guys later.